The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with promo code NBA SGPN. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no voice, no guys, me, really wrong, feeling wrong, wrong, Furman Jr. here at your service. Minnesota minus 7.5. Lock, never in doubt. And I mean, the game script of the Minnesota Lynx just making adjustments. Cheryl Reed proving, I've won championships before. Don't get it twisted. I know I might have had one of the best players of all times, but I'm a great coach in my own right. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beam me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, can't complain. Hit my lock as well. Even though the Fever scored a bunch of points, Lexi did not. So appreciate her scoring less than 8.5. However, I'm a bit annoyed at Fee because I don't know how I lost my dog play. Mm-hmm. I had Fee 20-plus points with the Lynx money line at plus 150 and change. She had 18 with like 7 to go, and she just didn't score again. And the Lynx went on a massive run there in the fourth quarter. I actually live bet them when they were down. I think it was 6 in the third quarter.
Scott, around that time is about the time that I had one of my friends over. It was NFL Sunday, and I had a WNBA screen up. And he was going on this tirade of how they need to lower the rims, and the sport would be way more interesting if they could just dunk.
I don't think he's gambling enough on the league. I think that's his problem.
Yeah, that's also true. But it was very funny because he was watching, and now those type of WNBA watchers where now they're nitpicking everything, and everything is just wrong. And he was sitting there, he was like, "Yo, the only people on this screen that look like they doing anything is the 2 pink-haired ones."
Oh, Courtney was very, very good in game 1 there, but. Well, point is, unfortunately for me...
I was like, the stud butts? He said, what?
For me, the MVP runner-up didn't do enough in the last few minutes scoring-wise, because I needed 2 points. I needed 2 points in the last 7 minutes. I knew the Lynx were going to win once they cut into the lead late in the third, and at that point, I thought I was in pretty decent shape. Damn, Collier, I needed 2 more points. Yeah, but either way, hit the lock, though, with a Lexi fade, so can't complain too much, but... I am kind of shocked they didn't get a sweep out of that, but it is what it is. Yeah,
it's all good. Other game, I mean, that's probably the least shocking part of the day. The Indiana Fever get the win outright in game 1 against the Aces on the road. Fun fact, the Aces, this is not the first time the Aces have dropped the first game at home of a 5-game series. They did it once before in 2022. And then they went on. It was the Seattle Storm at that point in time, that Breanna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd team. And then they proceeded to win the next 3. Don't know if that's going to happen here. But what I will say is they really, really took the fight to the Aces. They were not terrified. And then Kelsey Mitchell just did Kelsey Mitchell things with 34 points.
Yeah, and we thought that, once again, the only way that the Fever could win was if Kelsey went crazy. And she went nuts. But props to the Fever. We know the Aces came out flat in the first quarter. The Fever led by 9. They blew it almost immediately, as it was a 1-point game at the end of the first quarter. So you figured, okay, Indiana gave them their best shot. The Aces weathered the storm. They kept the game close, and then eventually they would do what the Lynx did, which was find a way to kind of, once again, hang around and then take advantage late. And that didn't happen. The Fever saw the Aces come back and said, do it again. And they couldn't do it again.
They just made it too easy on them. The around the rim was wide open. Yeah, around the rim was just wide open. And it looks like they went back to that early season Aces defense. And if you're going to do that, good luck. All right.
Yeah, also the crazy part, though, is the Fever scored 89 points and only 3 people scored double digits.
Yep.
Which is nuts. You had 3 people on the entire team who scored more than 6 points, and they finished with 89. So shout out to, and even like Natasha had 12, Odyssey at 17, nice for her.
Tasha Howard had a double-double.
She did, and Mitchell at 34. So I thought that the Aces would do a better job. Should I call out Jackie or should I call out Becky for that defensive performance against Kelsey? Because I think that's more of a Becky thing.
Yeah, I think it's a Becky thing too. You got to stop leaning on Jackie all the time, man. Especially when you're asking Jackie to guard the best defender 24/7 and then come back on the offensive end and
give you about 20.
Yeah, like what? Like, come on, man. You gotta come up. You gotta start trapping. You gotta get the ball out of her hands.
Just awful defense though. She's like the one person you'd be afraid of, and they just let her walk in.
And then they just throw her in pick and rolls, and now she's rolling to the rim easy. Like, it's just all bad. It wasn't a good game plan in game one, so. I'm looking forward to see what they got in game two. Before we get to it, though, got to talk to you about the SGPN app. Make sure you go get that SGPN app. Sports Gambling Podcast Network has all of our free picks and podcasts and props, all of that over for you in the SGPN app. Make sure you go get it in the App Store, Google Play Store, or whatever store you got. All right, let's get into it, Scott. Let's start off with the first game on the slate. What's this tip? 7:30 on the East Coast. We've got the Minnesota Lynx in game two going up against the Phoenix Mercury. Lynx are laying 7 currently. They say this opened up at 9. I never saw it at 9, Scott. I
didn't either. I think I might have seen an 8, but that's the highest that I remember.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. So I've never seen it be that high. 159.5 is the total. That's actually creeping up. So, still no Dejanay Carrington. She's not going to have her for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know my thoughts on the series, so you can go first.
I think it went basically about how I thought it was going to go. Like, Minnesota just turns it on at one point in the game, and it's funny that because I keep saying they're so good at closing games, but then it just keeps popping up my mind, that random game at home against the Seattle Storm where they blew the fourth quarter in the second half entirely. But I'm telling you, it just feels kind of similar. If you want to make a comp, something similar in the NBA this past season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the fact that there's just one point in the second half where you realize you're playing this team and you're out of it. Like, it may be close at that point, but you're out of it. They're playing great defense down the stretch. That you have shooters like Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride in that last game that are giving you big buckets late down the stretch. Tisha Heidemann, like, the only thing that you really got over this team is if you can out-rebound them and really put the pressure on them and cut their possessions in half instead of letting them get offensive rebounds. But, like, man, this Phoenix team, I like them. I really do. I think they do have some fight in them, but I just don't know what else they have to give, because I thought they played a really good game for like 2.5 quarters of that game, and then the Minnesota Lynx just turned it on.
Yeah, they did. I mean, there was a moment where the Fever were blowing out the Aces and the Mercury were up at the half, and we thought we might get some chaos on our hands. But no, the Lynx did what title teams should do, which is adjust to adversity, make some switches, and kind of just dominate when you needed to. And you could argue fatigue played a factor because the Mercury had a game 3. The Lynx maybe were a bit rusty.
Where they died. Yep.
Yeah. You could argue the Lynx were a bit rusty because they hadn't played since the sweep against the Valkyries. But the point is, it just feels to me like, even though everyone was talking about the Aces series being a sweep, we both were thinking the Fever win a game. So even though we disrespected them in game 1, we thought they would get on the board. We
technically not wrong yet. We're not wrong.
Technically, we said they'd win 1, and they did so far.
Yeah.
I said I think the Lynx sweep this team, which was the unexpected sweep we'd be getting in this round. And it's once again because the Lynx are 22-2 at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you don't beat them in this damn building. Mm-hmm. Besides, the one time the Storm did. But you're looking at the Lynx, who just seem to have a certain gear, as you were mentioning before, that other teams don't have. And the Mercury got off to a good start. Fatigue maybe played a factor. AT during the mid-game interview talks about how, Fee has to guard me too. and then she scores 2 points the rest of the game. Probably not what you wanted to, do after the quote, but I just think the Lynx are too. It was a very good quote. It was very cold, but 2 points after the quote's probably not, how you want to go about it. But the point is the Lynx just have so many options where even if Fee doesn't go and have an insane game, then Courtney Williams steps up. And you have co-defensive player of the year with Fee in the post to play good defense. And they just have a lot of different looks. Heidemann comes off the bench. She can be a flamethrower. They have a lot of options. And I'm looking at Phoenix. I know Copper is, of course, a very good scorer. Can be inefficient at times. AT, we know, has no jump shot, if we're being honest here. But I just think the Lynx are deeper, which we all know, with or without Carrington. And I think they sweep them in the series. So that was my bolder stance, which was only picking one sweep in the semis, but it being the Minnesota series. I think Minnesota wins again. I think the Mercury defensively can be up and down at times, but I think that for the most part, the Lynx in crunch time are just much better than the Mercury. Good enough for me. I'll go Lynx minus 7.5. I think this game is a pretty similar story. Win by double digits, and we go from there. So give me the Lynx minus 7.5. What's your case for the Mercury if you wanted to play devil's advocate?
Devil's advocate says that they, one, are just as good defensively as the Minnesota Lynx. If not, low-key, a tad bit better, because there are multiple times that the Lynx defense will get a little leaky. And if this gets to be a, hey, we're hitting our shots, you're hitting your shots, we're point for point, match for match, this could go down to the wire. And the adjustments of the fact of that fourth quarter went so bad for them. 5 minutes and 13 seconds left in the game. The Lynx were up 1 point, 68-67. The game ended 82-69. 14-2 run to take the lead in the series. Like, I really want to say that Nate Tibbetts comes out and bounces back with a better game plan here, but
it's just the home court for me.
Yeah,
I just really can't go against this team.
But they could win and not cover this line. That's what I'm concerned about. They could win and not cover.
They can. I think the main concern that I had going in and why I picked the sweep for Minnesota is that they played a couple of times in Minnesota, and including game one, they've won all 3 home games against Phoenix by 13 plus points.
Jesus.
It feels like a house of horrors for Phoenix.
Yeah.
For me. So I got Minnesota again.
Yeah, I do like Minnesota. I don't think that Phoenix is going to win. And the only reason that I am picking Minnesota is because I don't think that Phoenix is going to win. So I'll take my chance.
I like the under in this game, though. You mentioned defense. I think both teams are solid defensively. I think if Phoenix has to win it, I think a shootout's actually not in the cards for this team because I don't think Minnesota would give up that many points at home. I like the under, and there's a couple of scripts. Phoenix kind of has to muck the game up and try to outscore Minnesota in a low-scoring game. I just don't see how they're going to match up scoring depth-wise against this team. So I like the under. I think this total's a bit high.
Yeah, Minnesota's been very stingy thus far in the playoffs. I know they only played my Valkyries, but 72, 74, 69 points total given up in the playoffs thus far.
They gave up 22 points in the entire second half against Phoenix. The entire second half, they gave up 22 points.
Yeah, man.
I can't turn down that defense in crunch time.
It's going to be really tough to beat this team. Say that. All right.
I don't think anyone is.
I see the number going up. I see the number going up, but I agree. I think it's
what is it? 290?
It's at wait, what?
I'm saying what's the actual title odds now?
Oh no. I was talking about the
I'm saying title odds are like 290 at this point.
Are they? Let me see.
Well, because the Aces lost game 1, so now it's at like 290, but I can't argue it. I think Minnesota's been the best team year round. So you could argue they should have won the title last year. We don't care because we're Liberty fans.
Oh, yeah, minus 280, Aces plus 340.
I can't argue that. I think they're a wagon, and we all know this. By the way, worth mentioning, Jimmy pointing out, thank you, Jimmy. We have some birthday news. It's Fee's birthday today.
Ain't no way. I was already on Fee, but ain't no way.
I looked it up. It's true. Birthday. It is her birthday.
Oh, my God. They're screwed. Yeah, give me Minnesota. Minus 7. Wow, that might end up making the lock category. All right. Well, just go ahead and add fee into the player prop section over 21.5 points. Wow, man, I'm really slipping on the birthday stuff. Chat is great. I'm really slipping on the birthday stuff. That's a huge birthday to miss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I would have seen it at some point during the day. But shout out to the chat. Chat is great. W chat. All right. Yeah, Fee was always in the cards for me. I also like DeWanna Bonner today over 8.5 points. I think that they really missed her her scoring coming off of the bench in the last game, and they could have really used her down the stretch of those games to put anything in the basket. However, she wasn't able to score. But it's not like she's been bad against the Lynx. She's actually been over this in 10 of her last 12 against them. So I think that she's going to bounce back here, have a really good scoring day, be able to the outside shot wasn't in there. She didn't look inside too much. I think she looks inside a lot more this game. And that's really where you attack this Minnesota League squad. Like, you got to push them and challenge them on the inside and make them really, really guard around the rim. I know they can, but you got to force them to do it because it's sometimes, like I said, their defense will get a little leaky. So, give me DeWanna Bonner over 8.5 points. It was the big rebound game last game. This game's the big points game.
Yeah, I am probably going to go to Courtney in this one. I don't mind her PRA at 24.5. She was pretty quiet in the first round series. We know the Valkyries are pretty annoying to deal with when you're a guard. Yeah, she killed this Phoenix team. She had 23, 8, and 7, and her line's at 24.5. She's had at least 32 PRA in 2 of the last 3 games against Phoenix. The one exception, she had exactly 24. So I think if you want to go 23.5 minus 130, I don't mind it. 24.5, though, PRA is minus 102. It was not fluky at all. Phoenix couldn't stay in front of her. I think it's a good matchup for her, and I think Courtney should dominate in a couple of ways. But anytime you drop 15 RA in game 1 of a series, you're doing a lot besides just scoring. Good enough for me. Give me the Courtney PRA at over 24.5.
I like that. I was going for just the A, pause, but I like all of it combined. I was thinking assist just because if I'm expecting a big fee game, I have to assume that Courtney Williams is going to have a huge assist game.
Yeah.
The pick and roll with those two is just legendary. They've had the better connection over the course of the past 2 seasons, to be honest. And that's, I don't know if I feel like chasing rebounds in this game.
Is that the fee game? Is that the double-double fee game? Is that kind of a pivot in a way?
No, I was kind of thinking AT kind of has a big game, but...
Okay. I thought about the AT under assists, actually, because if I'm picking Minnesota to win, she had 7 in game 1. She actually has had less than 9 assists in 4 of the last 5. The one exception being the triple-double against the Liberty in that elimination game. But I don't mind AT under assists. I like the rebounds over, but I think 8.5 is a bit high for assists. When you're looking at the Lynx, who've been great defensively, they've allowed less than 8 assists to AT in 5 of the last 7 meetings. So I kind of like the under 8.5 assists at minus 114.
It's gonna be a sweat. I feel like she's good for 7.
It's going to be a sweat, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like 6 or 7 are like automatic, and then it's like those extra couple that push you over. So nice little sweat there for AT. All right. I think that's really the major props for me. Let's see, anything else I might want to dip my feet in. I think I'm gonna go over when they get back to Phoenix, though. I think I'm a really like over. I think I'm gonna like overs when they get back to Phoenix. I think Phoenix is gonna control pace there.
Yeah. Shout out to Courtney, by the way. In addition to having the 23, 8, and 7 game, 5 steals.
Yeah.
Shout out to Courtney on that. I know that they had a steals prop on FanDuel for fee in game 1. We've been asking for defensive props for over a year at this point. It was under a different title. I believe it was under player specials, and it was just defensive props. But let me see if any of those exist. But I remember seeing that, and I was kind of happy for a second that they took the time to put defense on the board. But it was only for 1 player. So, yeah, not exactly what I was looking for, but maybe there's a certain prop available. I see FanDuel, though, as a combo prop for Courtney and Heidemann.
I was literally waiting for you to stop talking so I could give out Heidemann's points prop.
Well, I'm saying, you mentioned Heidemann points. You can combine her with Courtney on FanDuel.
Yeah.
both of them to combine for 3 threes at plus 150. Combined is 4-1. 30 points combined is plus 385.
Yeah, I like the points more than threes.
But I think you might need the threes at that point. You don't think so? For a 30.5? Or for
no, because like you're taking. I mean, they're not the most efficient 3-point shooters, either one of them. And
no, but you're picking 30 total. You're probably getting a couple of threes in there, right?
But see, this is why I think the 30 total is interesting, because I think that we could get like 12 to 15 from T here today. Like T comes off the bench and will have some really, really big moments. And I think the adjustments from this Mercury team is going to be really, really focused on limiting the starters, limiting Courtney Williams, limiting Kayla McBride, who torches them. Kayla McBride normally torches the Mercury. I didn't play her today because I just thought that this is going to be an adjustment and maybe not the Kayla McBride game. And then so I'm kind of pushing that over to T coming off the bench, scoring and having an impact. But like I could see T having a really big game here. So over 9.5 points. I think she's going to get the double digits. I think she'll actually be closer to 15 in this game. She's had 20. She's had 20 or more in what is this? 4 of her last 8? Yeah, and that's 20. She's had 18 or more in 5 of her last 8 games. So yeah, I'm going with T here. I think T at over 9.5 is a pretty good day, and I think this is going to be the game at home coming off the bench where she shows off in the semifinals.
Yeah,
that is it for the first game. Let's see. Before we get to the next game on the site, I got to talk to you about MyBookie.ag, your place to bet every single sport, including the WNBA playoffs. NFL is here. You can get down college football. You can get down over there at MyBookie.ag. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. You can easily deposit and get lightning fast payouts for cryptocurrency. Head over to MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. And since Novig is an exchange, you know you're getting some of the best prices on the market. Go over there and get down on action. I'm telling you, you can get some very nice bets because there are people that are so convicted on being on the wrong side that you can take advantage. Go do that over at Novig. Novig is available in 35 plus states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend just $5. Use promo code SGPN and get in on the action with Novig. Promo code SGPN. All right, next game up, Scott. We're heading over to Vegas.
Some would argue a must-win game.
Do you listen to Jet T's podcast?
Yeah. Not always, but I see some clips that pop up every now and then.
They were just laughing because B-Head found out that there are no conferences in the WNBA because he was wondering. He was like, wait, it's the semifinals. Why Indiana playing Las Vegas? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yo, that travel is crazy. He was like, that bus ride has got to be long. Trying to... Yo, B-Head is crazy, bro. No, that's one of the funniest pods out. I'm gonna tell you, like, just naturally funny. He was just the disgust that he found out when the disgust he had when he found out there was no conferences in WNBA. B-Head, we have the same disgust over here as well. There should absolutely be Eastern and Western conferences.
On the bright side, they can fly now, so it's not that bad for the bus travel. They can fly now, so it could be worse, but. At least game 1 and game 2 are this game.
I'm sorry. I hate when people be playing the W, but when he said they drove a bus from Indiana to Vegas, I'm like, all right, bro. Come on now. It was a funny weekend for content in the WNBA. I'll take that. All right. Las Vegas Aces, lane 9 at home against the Indiana Fever in game 2, 164.5 is total. Okay.
I think there's 2 scripts here. I think either the Aces blow them out and they get we need this game. What the hell was that in game 1? We're going to come out and bury this team. Or Indiana proves once again that no matter how many injuries they have, they don't go away in this random Miami Heat type of playoff run that they're on where they just find ways to win games. They hang in there again and then some. So I think most people are picking the Aces smash spot just based on, the actual pre-series odds and based on Asia being MVP, not doing much in the second half. Not that it would have mattered anyway because they couldn't get a stop. But I think most people are picking the Aces blowout. Do you agree with that, or are you picking the Fever to actually hang around? Because they've proven, no matter how many injuries they have, you can't underestimate them because they'll surprise you every time.
Yeah. And so I think I'm leaning more to the side of Vegas still gets the win, but they don't cover this game.
I agree. I think that people are disrespecting Indiana by picking the Aces to blindly walk in and win by 15.
And it's just, and I understand they can. I understand they have before. But this recent version of the Aces have been in a lot more competitive games. I mean, you could have went and thought that after they had that crazy meltdown in Seattle, that they were going to come back and blow out the Seattle Storm.
They lost the game.
They almost lost. They're gonna run the blood pressure up. Like, this is what they do. They're going to run your blood pressure up. And so I don't know. I don't think that they're just gonna walk in and dominate this game. Maybe road Aces gets up in Indiana, hearing that crowd, all of that. But right now, this Indiana team is here with confidence. Aces kind of took a step back defensively that last game. They've got to adjust. They got to figure out how to keep Kelsey Mitchell from scoring the basketball. I think that, and plus the supporting cast really wasn't as good. Jackie didn't have as great of a game. Dana was good. Chelsea picked it up late. Asia was working. Jewel was a non-factor. Melissa was a non-factor. Like, you need more. And so I don't know if all the pieces mesh today. I think this is a lot of points. I really wanted to be on Aces. I really did. But I think I'm on Fever +9.
If I was going to be on the Aces, it'd probably be first half. You have the urgency early. Indiana hangs around. The Aces' fourth quarter numbers have not been great recently. And defensively, they have reverted back to being poor. I wouldn't say that they're as bad as they were early in the season because, damn, they were terrible early in the season defensively. It has not been pretty for the Aces. Now, there are some concerns, though, for the Fever. Even though they were able to win game one handily, once again, only 3 people on the entire roster scored more than 6 points. That's not going to work long term. So you could argue that if you shut down Kelsey, you win by default because they don't have enough supporting cast help, which is probably true. But do I trust the Aces to actually make the adjustments defensively? I don't know, because I thought the answer was yes when they won 17 games in a row. But recently, they've been letting inferior teams hang around and even win outright. So I don't trust the Aces to actually get the job done by a serious margin here, but I do think they win the game. I don't think Indiana goes up 2-0 to go back home, winning both games in Vegas. I don't see that. But would it shock me if the Fever were competitive and the Aces kind of just found a way to survive? No. Do I think Indiana will be happy only taking game one? I don't know about that. At this point, you got to ride the hot hand. If you think momentum's in your favor and you could potentially bury one of the big favorites, one of the biggest favorites I've ever seen to win a semifinal playoff series, I don't think you start punting games. Yeah. I think you go for it. I think Indiana's going to try to take a 2-0 lead.
To your point about the fourth quarter and the Aces in the playoffs, the Aces are losing the fourth quarter by 3.8 points.
Yeah,
for comparison, this would be the last place team in the playoffs. However, my Valkyries lost the fourth quarter by 11.5
yes.
points.
Well, we've been roasting the Valkyries offensive scoring in the fourth quarter all season. So
outside of the Valkyries, it would be dead last, and by a full 1.5, it would be dead last of the rest of the playoff teams. And
that's the problem when you're laying 10. They're 9. It's the fact that, like the Storm game that we saw, either game 2 or game 3, you're up, but you never feel like you fully put the other team away. And the Aces right now are just not putting teams away. That's not good enough when you're laying almost double digits for me. So I don't mind Aces 1-10.
And maybe it was cooler because, regular season, you're playing some other teams in there. You're rolling, you got the momentum, but you get into playoff basketball is different. And
Yeah, it's different because all
we
these
were
teams are
questioning,
actually
but we
good.
really weren't committed to Aces laying 8.5 in the first game. Well, at least I wasn't. I wasn't 100% committed, but I
think I
committed
picked the Aces minus 8.5, but I did not bet that. That was not my locker dog for the game. I faded Lexi instead, so I pivoted.
I was about to say again, the Minnesota series we feel so much better about the Minnesota series than this series.
I mean, that's the takeaway I have so far from this round, or even the end of the Storm series. People thought that the Lynx were going to run away with the title for most of the season, especially with the Liberty falling apart. Then the Aces win 17 in a row, and they beat the Lynx, and suddenly we think, okay, maybe we're going to have ourselves an actual team that can overthrow the Lynx's dominance all season. And now I'm watching these series, and I just think the Lynx are going to win the title again.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm at this point, maybe wait, we're going to best of 7 for the finals this year, right?
I believe so.
Let me double check that. I believe that was the change this year that we go.
Yes, it is 7 games. It's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Oh, dude, even in best of 7, they might win one.
My point is, do I think the Aces or any team are going to beat the Lynx 4 times out of 7? I don't. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
But I see Mike bringing up some interesting conversation, which I thought about too. I'm sure we all did, because they won the Commissioner's Cup without her.
Yeah.
And they won a round without her.
They're literally winning the most important games.
They won the Commissioner's Cup without her. They won the first round without her, and they're up 1-0 against the Aces. Mike's asking if the Fever play better without Clark, or he's basically saying they do. Look, I still think the scoring depth is a problem, but people can't have it both ways, where they say, well, Clark's carrying because her team's not very good, and yet they always win without her. You can't have it both ways. I'm just going to throw that out there. Either the team's good, or Caitlin doesn't make her teammates as much. I would say that Caitlin doesn't raise her teammates' level as much as people think.
Yeah.
That's the argument. But you can't say the team sucks, but they win every time she doesn't play.
You can no longer – Indiana fan – because this is what's going to happen next year. They're going to come back next year. They're not going to look as good as this. And then Indiana's going to say that Caitlin –
somebody get Caitlin some help. Like, no, that's not how this works.
They're literally in the semifinals up 1 game. I will never hear that argument again. You will never. I don't think you can.
And the Commissioner's Cup final against the Lynx, they blew them out. It wasn't even a close game for that one. So Indiana's impressed me. Coach White's impressed me with how she's been able to kind of reinvent the team without Caitlin. Kelsey is not, because we already know how good Kelsey is. We've been talking about her on the show for like 3-4 years. We knew Kelsey was really good, and she has more usage when Caitlin doesn't play. But it's not fluky when you win some of the biggest games without your star player. This team might actually be pretty good. Now, I'm not saying they're better without her entirely, but I'd say that the drop-off is arguably non-existent.
I was about to say, and also, Steph White also proves that she's not a horrible head coach when she doesn't, like, when she just doesn't cater to Caitlin Clark the entire time, and I get it.
No, she can.
But, like, yeah, like, this is impressive. I'm not gonna lie. That beating the dream was impressive.
We gave Coach White a very hard time because the offense looked like Virginia, in the NCAA tournament half the time. Except when you're against the Aces and the Liberty, especially like the last year or two Liberty, there aren't many teams around in the league that are going to win a series against either of those teams. Then Minnesota showed up, and they're great too. They just ran up against a couple of buzzsaws and lost. I think that Coach White, we gave a hard time to because the offense looked very ugly against some really, really good teams. She's a good coach. That's kind of the point I'm making. So I'm assuming we agree on that?
Yeah, we agree. Yeah. No.
In hindsight, like, those were just some really good teams they had to go up against.
I gave her a lot of shit this year. I did. I gave her a lot of shit. And I will admit, this run at the end of the season, and especially this early run in the playoffs, regardless of what happens here, they could lose the next 3 games straight and be knocked out, just like Seattle Storm in 2022. I would still think that she did a pretty impressive job.
She did. And the fact is, nobody thought that they would win game 1 in Vegas, and they blew them out.
I didn't think they'd be this far.
You're playing with house money. You know, nobody's giving you a chance.
Man.
The Aces were like minus 1,000, minus 1,200, and you're up 1-0.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Total's at 164.5.
I like the over.
I'm actually going to go to game 2 under here. Give me under.
Okay. I think there's a couple of ways to get there. I think either the Fever's offense keeps going because the Aces defense has started to struggle again, or the Aces get pissed off and they score 90 points.
That's true too. Good way of looking at it, actually.
So
wow. I didn't consider the Aces scoring 90 points anymore. I just assumed that we were going to make adjustments on the defensive side of the ball and drag that total under.
I don't know. I kind of like the way the pace was played in game 1. It seemed very free-flowing, which I appreciated, and it's good for the over. The Aces just couldn't hit shots, but I do think that the Aces offense had some looks. They just bricked a bunch of shots.
Good point. I'm with you. I'm on over. You swayed me. Good point. All right. Okay. Over 164.5. All right. Player props.
Do you think they actually make some adjustments trying to guard Kelsey?
Yeah.
Because I thought about Kelsey's assists. Why not they start sending doubles?
It's funny. Wow. I thought about her assists as well. I didn't end up getting there, but I did consider it. So that's crazy you say that. But I ultimately just said that, well, they could hold her to 10 less points. And I still cashed the over on the points prop. So I took the over on the points prop again, Scott. Over 20.5. Yeah. They can't stop her. And if they're not going to, I have to see Becky make a different game plan of trapping, getting the ball out of her hand, like something. But if you're just going to let her go and hope that everybody else is not on, I don't want any parts of that. So just give me Kelsey Mitchell. I assume that's what she's going to do. She's going to hope that Kelsey Mitchell is on and everybody else is not. So Kelsey Mitchell over 20.5. I like the over 2.5 3-pointers made as well.
Well, you know where I'm going with my first one. It worked for game 1. Cash my lock. Give me
7.5 now.
I see 8.5 on an exchange.
Oh, really?
I see FanDuel is 8.5 minus 130. So same price as I had in game 1. Different book, but still. I got to go back to it. I mean, we've been critical of Lexi before. Mm-hmm. We think that she is a role player. No insult there. You could argue that with the look she might be getting if they start double teaming Kelsey, maybe she goes over. But there's no volume. She's attempted less than 8 shots in 3 straight. Was 2 of 6 in game 1. You kind of forgot she was out there.
Oh, no, she didn't score until, what was it? I think it was end of the third when she got to the foul line. Like, she didn't start scoring until the end of that game at all. So, that's
kind of my point. She was an afterthought and it worked out. So, I don't see any reason to reinvent the wheel here. Give me Lexi under 8.5.
The lack of shot volume only means something at home because then she might hit a 3 or 2. But
I can deal with 2 threes and 2 free throws. There's nothing more.
Yeah.
So I like the under 8.5. I just find it weird that after she didn't score for the first half entirely, finished with 6, we're at the same exact price for game 2. I find that kind of weird. And the Fever scored 89 points. So give me Lexi under her 8.5.
All right. I like Chelsea Gray over 5.5 assists here. The line's gotten too low. This is a bounce back game for the Aces. She could stumble into 6 assists just passing the ball to Asia alone. Like, that's it.
And Asia didn't do much scoring wise, which of course would correlate with Chelsea assists.
Yeah. And so give me Chelsea Gray, go over 5.5 assists here. It's a little juice, minus 145. I do like 6.5, and for her to get 7 as well. I think this is a high volume assist game for Chelsea Gray.
Yeah, I was wondering if I wanted to go for Jackie points because they're at 16.5. She has had 17 plus in 6 of the last 8 games. Against Indiana, she has scored 19 exactly in 3 of the last 4 meetings. So I don't mind Jackie over 16.5.
All right. I do like the Jackie Young play as well. Wow. Thanks, Scott.
There's no reason why I shouldn't take Jackie. She's just been very consistent, and I think 16.5 for her is too low.
Last play. You know what happens? They need somebody to just consistently go get their own bucket. Who do they call? Flash. Tasha Howard, over 9.5 points. She's been over this in 7 over the last 10 games. She's been over this in Jesus Christ, what is this? 6 of the last 7 against the Aces. Gonna be going at Melissa Smith again here. I was actually really disappointed I wasn't on this play in game 1 as I saw it, because I'm like, duh, you always call on Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard comes in, does her job, hoops, and goes home.
I think Terrell hit the wrong button, but he just joined. I heard the noise, so I'll add him back when he comes back. Trying to think of anything else I might be tempted by. I'll tell you who I actually should call out because of the, of course, I'd say reputation that she has, but the lack of results recently. I gotta call out Aaliyah Boston. I think Aaliyah Boston's been pretty bad recently. Her points are at 13.5. She had 6 in game 1. She was 3 of 9 from the floor. Fun fact, she's at less than 13 points in, so far, 7 of the last 9 games that she's played. And she has had less than 14 in 2 straight against the Aces. We know Asia is a very solid defensive player. Rest of the team, maybe not so much. But the point is, in the actual paint, I do think that Aaliyah is going to be in some trouble here. Foul trouble could be a problem. Who knows what whistle we'll see Asia get in a potentially must-win game here for the Aces. I think that Aaliyah Boston, her points have been just underwhelming. They have not been there. And I do think that 13.5 feels pretty generous at minus 105. I don't mind Aaliyah Boston under on her points. I think there might be some value for that one. Waiting to see if Terrell comes back, but I don't see Terrell. So I guess I'm going to move on to the next game. Or actually, no, that was the last game. So just going to wrap it up for the actual preview of the 2 games. I'll do the ad read while Terrell tries to figure out how to come back into the show. So anyway, before we get into the lock and dog picks, a reminder that we are brought to you by our sponsor, which is Underdog Fantasy. And of course, you can use them for your pick'em entries. You win 5 times your money. Use the different sports that they have. They have WNBA. They have tennis, they have baseball, they have football, really just a bunch of different sports that you can choose from. And a reminder, you could also check out a bunch of different sports that they have available, whether it involves, once again, stuff for actual pick'em entries. They have esports, a bunch of different options there. When you do check out Underdog, use the brand new offer, play just $5, $50 bonus funds, use the promo code NBA SGPN. We're also supported by Rhythm. They're off to a great start in college football in the NFL. They're also introducing a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type for any model that you build, and you can win $1K. And a reminder, if you want to also enter that giveaway, your picks do not have to win. Your bets don't have to actually win. Just track any 5 plays from your model that you build, and you're entered into the giveaway. Also use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for a quarter off the first month. Download the Rhythm app, promo code SGPN25. Welcome back, everyone, to the WNBA Gambling Podcast. Terrell's back from vacation. Terrell, what's up? How's it going? Wrong button, your connection broke.
No, the computer died overall.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be able to make it the show and then be able to go get the laptop charger. It didn't work.
All good. I did the ad read, so we're up to lock and
I know. Great. I was sitting here, kick back, relax. Got to make you do those more often.
It's fine. I do them every time on tennis and MLB, so it's fine.
Let's see
and the prop
here.
show.
I do like the Leah Boston assist angle. Whoever said that, I
mentioned the under points because her points have been actually pretty quiet recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can get behind an assist. Absolutely. All right, lock. Yeah, I think everybody else is buying into the Mercury being competitive in this game on the road, and maybe they are. But I think the Minnesota's going to run away with it in the fourth quarter again.
I said sweep. I'm sticking with the sweep. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I'll try for 2 for 2. Give me Minnesota laying 7.
Okay.
Dog. This is going to be interesting. Let's go Heidemann. I expect Minnesota to win by margin, have a pretty good game. Heidemann's going to be – I have a real good feeling about Heidemann today, and I wanted to get down on her. So let's do Heidemann. Oh, Jesus Christ. 12.5 is plus 135. So we'll do Heidemann. So we'll do Heidemann 12 points and a win. There we go. Heidemann 12 points and a win, plus 178.
Okay.
That feels very correlated. If Heidemann gets 12 points, they probably win the game.
Probably. I mean, I have to imagine that if your sixth person, who did not win sixth person of the year, by the way, ends up having a solid game, you're probably in good shape. For my lock, you know what? I'll run it back. I think it's a good price. Give me Lexi again. I'll take the under 8.5 points at minus 130. No reason to change it up. She was not very good in game one, was 2 of 6. You mentioned that she had 0 points in the first half, and they scored 89. So if you're picking the Aces defense to buckle down a little bit in this game, probably less from Lexi.
Let's go! Sorry, Scott.
I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, I'm going to guess Russell Wilson.
No, well, just finish your take, and I'll play.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Okay. I will mention that in a second. But either way, Lexi against the Aces, she has scored less than 8 points in 5 straight against this team. I'll go back to it. Give me Lexi under the 8.5 points as my lock. For my dog, I think we're on the same page, picking the Lynx to win, but throwing in a player prop to make it a bit of a better price. The question is, which player do I actually want? And I think I am going to go with Courtney. I think Courtney's in a good spot. We saw the Mercury just couldn't stay in front of her in the first game. So I don't mind that, but I do have to find a different angle because the money line attached to it only gets me to minus 136. I mean, plus 136. So let me quickly see what I can get for an alt line for the Lynx. Sorry, just trying to quickly find it. Where is the alt line? If I can't do a same game parlay, by the way, I'll just switch it up and I'll pick something different. But I don't think it's going to let me do it. So instead of doing that, I will go with an alt line on the Lynx. Said before, they won all 3 home games against the Mercury this season by at least 13 points. I will go with the Lynx minus 11.5 at plus 158.
Let's just go ahead and get through this news real quick.
We skipped one coach firing, by the way, that we have to mention too, but we have a new one.
As Scott said, we had 2 coaches fired over the past couple of days in the W. Both playoff teams. The Seattle Storm have fired their coach, Noel Cole. And as the chat broke, and the news broke in the chat, by the way. We are on air, and I'm glad the chat broke the news, so we really didn't have to do an emergency pod. But Sandy Rondello has been, well, I guess you're supposed to say parted ways, but fired.
Her contract has not been renewed. So,
technicalities. All I have to say is I'm glad that they didn't allow a championship to change what we all
perception of her. Yeah.
And that it was time for this marriage to be done. Like it was time for this was supposed to be it. And it probably would have been it last year, but they won a championship and you can't fire her after that. But you go from winning a championship, and I get it. It was a very, very injured season. But there's the not believing Natasha Cloud on challenges was a fireable offense to me, Scott. I'm not going to lie. Natasha Cloud is like 100% on challenges.
I mean, we've said it for years, but I thought that the straw that broke the camel's back for me was calling a timeout in the final minute of a 1-possession game, and they turned the ball over on the inbound pass. I thought that was the last straw for me, but I've been done with her for a year and change, and she won a title. So thank you, I guess, for what we saw last year. You ended up finding a way to win a title with that team. But I think we all knew that Sandy, more often than not, was bailed out by high-end talent as opposed to maximizing the talent on the roster.
Yep.
And I'm happy that New York won a title and did not get complacent. Now, that whoever they bring in is important, of course, but I think you can find better coaches than Sandy available. So I'm happy about the move. I know you are too. I'm kind of shocked they did it. Shout out to the reporter who once again asked the question post game 3.
What the?
She was right. She knew what she was talking about. Shout out to the reporter.
Yeah, I'm glad, but I'm just glad it wasn't just our fandom and just saying like, yo, she need to go. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't maximizing anything.
We thought she needed to go last year.
Yeah,
and you could argue that if they didn't win a title, she might have been gone last year.
We were very, very hard. Natisha Heideman's T-bill. Natisha Heideman. But so yeah, we thought that if they didn't win last year, it would have definitely been a clip for her last year. Like we've been on her for the past couple of seasons, actually. So the fact that they actually did it is very interesting. And now I'm curious of what's the plan next. Who are we going to get to replace her? Who's going to walk in? Because you're getting a hell of a roster that's probably going to be healthy next season. You
can probably get whichever coach you want that's available in the sphere, or you go out of it. I mean, I don't think Bruce Pearl would take a WNBA job, but you know what I'm saying? Like maybe some coaches decide, you know what? I like the roster. You pay me enough money, I'll coach.
Mm-hmm. And
once again, not Bruce Pearl in particular, but maybe you get somebody who's not experienced WNBA and you end up going kind of a bit more creative, somebody who wants an opportunity, no matter what league it's in. Maybe that's an option too, but hopefully not Noelle Quinn.
No, I don't think it's going to be.
It's going to segue into the other firing we saw because the Storm let her go, but that was expected. But we'll see.
I'm curious about what the team looks like next year with the new, well, hopefully with the new CBA. Honestly, we're talking, but there might not be WNBA hoops next year.
You got 2 new teams coming in too. So you got some expansion draft stuff you got to worry about.
Yeah, but they got to get that CBA together.
That too, but I do wonder with Stewie being injured, with Sabrina being injured too, Jonquel was kind of out of sorts the entire postseason.
No, because Molly has been on Noelle and Sandy all season. Love the chat.
Yeah. But the point is, do you think the Liberty really do much with the roster, or do you think they chalk it up to injuries and bad coaching?
I think the GM probably chalks it up to injuries and bad coaching, but I think that he's not afraid to make a move to make this bring in another big. Bring in somebody that a big that could come off the bench and just shore up the rebounding, because Jesus Christ, the rebound. But that's what it is. She's been talking about the rebounding for the past 2 or 3 years, and it's never gotten better, ever. So, I was mentioning it because, of course, Angel Reese is going to be the very common blockbuster name attached. If you ask Flo, Angel's in the Liberty next year. So, yeah. So point is, we'll see if anybody makes the jump. I see dropping mentioning that there's a Pacers assistant. Jenny, who could end up maybe making the move. We'll see. Who knows? You have a lot of options because you're one of the best destinations to be in. You're in a big market. You are with a roster that's very, very good. And you won a title a couple years ago. And you have multiple Hall of Famers. It seems like that might be a little bit of the mold for a good head coach, a woman coming over with NBA experience.
That could be the move. I mean, we saw Becky do that. I'm trying to remember.
Natalie Nakase was on the Clippers staff. And so, who
was the Pelicans person who was linked to it? Was that Witherspoon? Wasn't there a female Pelicans assistant who was linked to some NBA coaching jobs? Of course, she didn't get the head coaching job, but I could have sworn they had a female assistant over there in New Orleans for a bit.
Jody?
Could be. Is that Witherspoon?
Teresa Weatherspoon.
That one. Yes.
Yeah, Teresa Weatherspoon.
She was linked to a couple of coaching jobs too, so maybe she comes over.
Oh yeah, she was working for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
As I remember, she was getting interviews and people made a big deal out of it, but that could be an option too. Who knows? We'll see.
I'm interested. I'm curious on seeing where all this goes. I'm curious.
I don't even know if I really care. I was going to say, I don't even know if I care if the coach they hire is experienced or not. I'd at least go through a process, get a bunch of people in the building, interview them, see what they say, and go from there.
If they bring in Teaspoon to coach the Liberty, oh, dude, then that almost guarantees that you're getting Angel at some point or another, whether it happens this season or the next season or the next season. If you get Teaspoon to come in and coach the Liberty, I'm also curious of what Teaspoon would do with that amount of talent, honestly. But if Teaspoon comes in, because she almost coached the Sky to a playoffs. So if she, that would be interesting, Scott. That would be interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm trying to think of any other names there. I don't think she would do it because she was linked to the NBA this past offseason. I don't see Dawn making the leap.
Oh, no, Dawn would only jump up for the NBA.
I think she'd only go NBA, but I'll mention her name anyway in passing because she'll get brought up, I'm sure, in a couple of headlines.
Yeah.
I do not see Dawn leaving South Carolina for the Liberty.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening, but that will be a name that's brought up.
All right. Let's see here. underdog, and let's get out of here, Scott.
All right.
Who do we want to put in the
Birthday
underdog lineup? Yeah. All right. Let's get Fee in there. Oh, underdog's got her at 20.5 points.
Okay.
Thank you.
Birthday discount.
Let's go with... Who else do we want to put in here? I do really like the Jackie Young play.
It's such a low number for her, who's been solid recently.
Jackie Young's got a really low number. Yep. So Jackie Young, add in there. And then we can go a bunch of different ways. I mean, I like Chelsea Gray. I like Natasha Howard. I like the Courtney Williams play. I like the Lexi Hall play again. I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I think I'll just go back to Lexi if they have her lineup. I don't mind the lower on her.
Let's see. Wait. All right, there we go. Lexi Hall lower. It's 7.5 here on underdog.
Damn.
I
kind of want the 8 though. Yeah, that's
right.
kind of a key number I want for a role player.
Okay.
Do you want to go Courtney? I know you like the PRA angle.
So we're taking the PRA.
Yeah. Because she had, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in game 1? Like, she did everything.
Courtney Williams, higher 24.5 PRA.
By the way, Jimmy's mentioning Tolliver as another name. Yeah, point is you have a couple options you can go with. So we'll see what happens.
Nafisa Collier, higher 20.5 points. Courtney Williams, higher 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Jackie Young, higher 16.5 points. That gets you to 6.63x. $100 gets you $663 over there. Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. With that, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Yeah, one last thing for the Liberty. Can you give Nikase a call? That's frowned upon.
That would be.
Can you try to poach coaches? Can you try to do that? Just throwing out ideas.
Make a trade for her.
You might lose a draft pick for tampering, but I'll sacrifice that because nobody really cares about back end picks anyway. Yeah, you want to call it Nikase? I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. If you want to try to poach coaches.
Teaspoon would be very interesting because I'm curious what Teaspoon would do with a good roster.
Yeah.
So, all right. Sorry. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at really real __. Make sure you give me a follow on X with that 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. And WNBA Gambling Podcast on YouTube at NBA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you go check us out there. And with that, that is it. We have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to do like this. We are out of here.